Hey everybody, this is Ted Forbes and welcome back to The Art of Photography. Today we are announcing the winner of the Art of Photography book giveaway. We are giving away a copy of John Blakemore's Black and White Photography Workshop. And before I announce that, before we get into this, I want to say a few things about our little contest here. First of all, I really am very humbled and really do think that I have the best audience out there ever. I was blown away by the submissions that were entered. We had a lot of submissions, way more than I thought we'd have. And you guys, the quality of work that was submitted was astonishing. I really am humbled by this because I really like to see that. There was nothing that was bad that was turned in. Everything was really pretty good quality, and it was really kind of hard to narrow it down to the best one. So what I decided to do was this. I picked the top 20 or so, and we're going to go through those, and I want to show you what I felt like were the top 20 submissions in this, and then we're going to announce the winner at the very end. Now, you know, competitions, I want to say this too. Competitions can be weird. I got to a point in my life where I hated competitions because I always felt like, and having been on both sides of the coin, when I won a competition, I always felt like it gave me this weird false sense of reality that my work was really good and I could, you know, kind of float on that, which was never the case. And then when I didn't win, I always felt like, oh, my stuff's not good enough. Now, I know I'm very neurotic in that regard, and most people have a healthier outlook on things than I do, but competitions can be funny like that. And the reason I'm saying all this is because if I'm not featuring your work today, don't be discouraged. It doesn't mean that it wasn't any good. I just had to narrow it down for the allotment of time that we have here. There was really a lot of good work submitted, and I really appreciate that. The other thing I want to mention is don't give up, because we're going to be doing a lot of these book giveaways. My friend Andrew and I, we did an episode on a couple shows ago where we went to the bookstore, and I got 5 books there that we're going to give away. And then my friend Rich Klein has donated very graciously another big stack of books that he's about to mail to me. And so we're going to have enough giveaways to do for a while. And what I really like about this, and I think this is the crux and the point of this contest that we did, was to get you guys to start using Twitter to self-promote your work. And what I saw on there, and this is really cool, you know, I check Twitter a couple times a day, and I went in there and I saw, you know, a lot of times, you know, people would @Ted Forbes in their tweet too. And so, you know, a comment you mentioned on got favorited, or a comment you were mentioned on, or a tweet you were mentioned on got retweeted. And so I saw a lot of retweeting of work. I saw a lot of people kind of coming together and enjoying other people's work in this. And I hope that that was accomplished somewhat and that we're able to continue that moving forward. It's about how to use social media to promote your work and get it out there. And I hope that some of you guys had really good experiences with that. If you didn't, that's the point of this, and continue and work on that next time. Now, I didn't pick an image based on the number of retweets or anything like that. I just picked an image that I thought was outstanding. And so what I want to do is we're going to look at some images. I'm going to show you them on Twitter, and we're going to go through. And again, I know I'm gushing over this, but I really am impressed with the quality of the work we had. So I want to share some of that with you. So let's go ahead and look at the finalists, and we'll end with the absolute overall winner. So here we go. Okay, so we're on Twitter, and before we get to the people I'm going to feature today, and as well as announcing the book winner here, I want to point something out that seems to have been a little bit confusing about Twitter. And so, for instance, if I go up to search Twitter and you want to see all the images that were submitted, if I go #AOPBG, I love how it's suggested now. Anyway, it comes up, and what you're looking at here, there are 2 sets of results that Twitter will give you, and this is a little confusing. If you look right up at the top here, it says results for #AOPBG. It says top, which is what we're looking at here, and then it says all. What it defaults in is to giving you what it calls top tweets. And to put this into perspective, this makes a little more sense when you put it in the context of like the big trends down here at the bottom. So for instance, Star Wars is trending right now. There's probably thousands and thousands of tweets that have Star Wars in the title. So what Twitter does is it does an algorithm that gives you what it's calling these top tweets. And so some of these are based on, you know, how recent the tweet was. So this, for instance, this was 2 hours ago. Also, what comes up in this list are things that have a lot of engagement. So a lot of retweets and a lot of stars and stuff like that. So the reason I'm telling you this is people actually retweeted their image saying they couldn't find it in there when I actually had already seen it. And it wasn't neither here nor there, but just to create, you know, to alleviate the confusion, that's what it is. So if you click on all, you're going to see all of the images that are associated with that hashtag. And so just wanted to make sure that was clear. So now I want to get into talking about the finalists here and announce our winner. Okay, so first up is David Candlish, and he tweeted, "Vertical, the best photo I've ever taken, putting the best I have forward for @Ted Forbes #AOPBG competition." This photo should tell you right away why this competition was hard and why it was hard to actually pick one person to win a book from. But this was a lot of fun, and you know, you guys did some amazing work. I love this image. I think you can see obviously why, and David did a fantastic job on here. And I think this image, I'm starting with this because it sums up why this was so difficult, because this is outstanding. Next up, we have this wonderful image from Guy Hoobsch, and I apologize if I'm butchering the names on here, but another wonderful image. I love the symmetry. I love the figure below. Just outstanding stuff. Next up, we have Thomas Clemens with this wonderfully moody landscape. I love the fact that it's a lot of midtones in here, and really nice use of that. And by that, I mean there's not a lot of bright whites or dark blacks. It's mostly middle grays, and it's just a wonderful mood and atmosphere that comes off of this. Really awesome stuff. Next up, this is an abstract that made it in. This is Louis Rocaire, and I love the fact that somebody actually attempted to do an abstract. I didn't get a lot of these, and I think this is a nice example with the way this is all blurred out, but it has these kind of like, you know, light trails that go through the middle and create kind of an illustrative quality. Really nicely done. Another great one is Florian Fuchner. Not a lot to say about this. It's an excellent image. The hands, the book. I love it's a portrait without being someone's face. Really nicely done. Beautiful work. Next one, I love this for its simplicity. This is R.W.C. Dally, and it's just this simple image of a shed amidst three kind of levels of landscape here. Really nice, a nice Americana quality to it, you know, very illustrative in nature. Really nice job. Another one that I love, this is David Wellbeloved, and disclaimer, I know David. You need to go look David up on Twitter and Flickr and all that stuff. David's a great photographer, and what I really like about David's work is that he has a wonderful sense of humor that it shows through when he does personal work sometimes. Obviously, you can see the scowl that's being given to the blurry flower while the younger brother looks on. Awesome stuff, and go check David out. He's awesome. Next one, Suzanne Helmert, and a very beautiful image of a calla lily. I love the tones on this. I love the black and white, obviously, but the toning that's been done to it. It's just really nice. A nice soft quality to it. Very Robert Mapplethorpe in some ways, and really nice. Nicely done. Another great landscape. This is Scott Mullen, and I love this with the placement of the figures down here on the water. Really pretty, and really beautiful and really nicely executed. These images are not easy to do, folks, and he did a nice job on that. Plus, it has a great mood to it, this very somber quality to it. Really nicely done. Very narrative quality to this one that I really like. This is a diptych, so it's two images in one. Very illustrative, conjures up maybe some psychological connections or maybe a dreamlike atmosphere. This is Andres Antonic, and really nicely done. This woman with the umbrella touching the water, and in the second image, the umbrella and the dress being left on the water. A lot of post-processing done on here, and I think it works. It helps tell that story and gives a real style and quality to it that's really, really nicely done. This is another hard one because, and you guys, some of these images are really good. You guys did wonderful on this. Another disclaimer, this is a friend of mine. This is Andrew Murphy, and who's one of my oldest friends ever. He was on the last episode helping me choose books for the giveaway, and I like this. This is done, I know what he used on here. He has a 6x9 pinhole camera, medium format. And I like the way that it gives a real soft focus to everything. The flower's soft, but what I really like about this image is the confusion of what you're seeing in the background. And it looks like it's kind of this alien waterscape or something with the sun coming over the horizon. And really, really nicely done. Another image I like, and this one almost won the whole thing. This was a tough one. One of my favorites, though. This is Goose in Snow by Max von Kugel. And I love the fact that it's a goose in a snowstorm, and it's just really nicely executed. I love the tones on here. Just a great photo. I really love the subject and the composition. Really nice quality to it. Another one that I really like, this is A.M. Bricaire, and this brings to mind the work of the great Italian photographer Luigi Ghiri, because he did this same technique a lot. But what you're seeing in here is this woman in the foreground who apparently is being gawked at by a bunch of miners and this other oddball with his mouth hanging open. But what's really cool is when you look at this a little closer, you realize that those aren't miners in the background. It's another photograph. It's something that's been printed on a wall or being displayed. It's an advertisement of some kind. And I love that because it gives you something that when you look at it another time, you realize that there's something that kind of fooled you in it. Anyway, outstanding image, and definitely wanted to include that in our show here. This is Getting Attention, Amsterdam Central Station. Very, very nicely done. Another one that I really liked is this, it's a landscape, but it's got these two figures walking on water, so it appears. And it creates a narrative quality to it. And what I like about this is it's a completely different photo if you don't have those two figures there. It doesn't work at all. But the placement of two little things turn this into a great image, and really nicely done. This is from Adrian Stoyden, and really nice work. I like it. Another one that I like, and there's two of these that are in here, these overhead bird's eye views kind of shots. And this is people waiting in an airport, obviously, but I love the fact that, you know, when you have this vantage point, there's all these little stories that are going on within the image. So really nicely done. Very high contrast, but very good. And this is Robert Kotowski, and he did a great job on this. Another one, and this is another one that was a contender for winning the whole thing, and I love it because it is so weird. This is from Menage, and this is bizarre. I keep looking at this, and I don't want to stop because you're trying to figure out what it is. It appears to be what looks sort of like a water landscape kind of thing with these piers that are sticking out, but this last pier that's set straight up in the middle, and the title of this is Geometry. This last pier is so much taller than the others, and it appears to have a lamp connected to it with a lampshade. It's bizarre, it's Dadaist, it's weird, it's wonderful. I really, really like this image. I think there's almost an abstract quality to it because I really can't make out how everything is supposed to work together or what it's trying to tell me, but it's fascinating because of that. So really nice job on that. I really like that image too. Another aerial shot, and this is Marcelo Zacharias, and I really like this too. I like this little coffee scene of these three images sitting at tables, all kind of doing different things. This guy on his phone and another guy on the crossword, and you know, the woman talking over on the right-hand side. So really nicely executed. Just interesting vantage point, and I really like that. This one I love. This is David Perez. This was another almost won the whole thing. And this was tough, guys. I love the fact he tweeted, from first ever roll of 120 film. It's rough, I know. Poor scan too, yet I love it. I feel like a rock star. Yes, it is all those things, and it creates such a cool vibe that's why I like this. I love the fact that it's presented as a negative that was scanned. He didn't go to extreme amounts of work with trying to figure out the contrast in the image or the levels or the curves or any of that. And I guess that's why I like it, because of its simplicity. It's a girl on a swing, and it's missing a lot of detail, but that's what makes this a great shot, is the minimal quality. It's presenting only the information you need for the picture, and for that, I really think this is an amazing shot. I love the fact that it's rough and it's crude, and that's what gives it its vibe. I mean, this is a picture. This looks like something that's made by hand, and I really like that. That was one of my favorites in here, so way to go, David. Another one that I like, this is from Catherine, who is Broadology on Twitter, and another one that's kind of abstract in the sense I can't tell what it actually is. It looks kind of like they could be, you know, architectural entities, or maybe it's a piece of art or something, but these galumphing figures on a pole, and she titled Warriors, and it's very high contrast, almost completely stark black and white, but I think it's got a great feel to it and a great mood. And am I even looking at it sideways? There's a lot that really piques my curiosity here. So Catherine did a wonderful job on that image. Another one, you can tell I like moody landscapes, but here's another one. These are printed really dark, but I kind of like that because it draws you in. And again, R. Isley did this image. It's just enough information here to make out what it is, and I like that. Obviously, you know, probably a nod to Hiroshi Sugimoto's Seascapes, but very different and very original in its own way, because you have just that little touch of that wave in the middle. And I love images like that are largely blurry but give you enough information to make out what they are. There's another one in here coming up that I really like for that too. Ethan Hasek. This is a great image. John Blakemore deals with a lot of this in the book, but really wonderful localized contrast. This is raindrops on a leaf, and creates kind of some abstracts going on in here too that I really like. The way the drops of water magnify the texture on the leaf. Really, really nicely done. It's just a really pretty image to look at, and I think he did a wonderful job on that. So good job, Ethan. This one I am in love with. Another one that contended to almost win the whole thing. This is John Bertroft. Just a beautiful image of these two horses. You know, I love the mist in the background. I love the way that there's an implied background on here, but it's not totally dominant, and your eye is really drawn into the motion and the movement of these two horses, and it's just beautiful. Horses are beautiful animals anyway, and it's a great, great picture. I really like that. Another one that I like, this is Eduardo. And Eduardo, I am familiar with a lot of his work. We met several years ago at the first London meetup that I did. And Eduardo does a lot of work with female models. And I like what he's doing with them. And I like the way he portrays portraits. And one of the things that I see him doing, not just in this image, but he does a lot of black and white work that brings to mind the way chromatic film works, where it was kind of a different end of the color spectrum. And things like freckles tend to pop up or imperfections in skin. And Eduardo has a wonderful eye for bringing out a lot of the beauty in those things, and it's part of his work, and it's what makes it beautiful. These aren't like, you know, Vogue models. There's an innocence that's portrayed through these and a real sense of realism, but they're still very beautiful just the same. I also really like how the background shifts in the back, and on one side of the girls you see, you know, you see this house on the right, and on the other side it's you know, more abstract, but really nicely done. And Eduardo's a fine photographer. Another one that I really liked, and another big contender here, this is Al Reed, and he just tweeted, "The drummer from my band warming up." And it's really cool. I love the fact that it says love in typography in the back. And, you know, you can't make out much of the drums, but it doesn't matter because it's great portrait of seeing the figure against the lit up letters in the back. And it's really nicely done. I really like the mood and the story that this is starting to tell here. So another one I really like, this is from Messner. This is titled Sandstorm. And again, just enough information to kind of tell a story. I think the title matters on this one, but really nice image. Next up is Josiah Spence, or Hosea Spence. I'm not sure how he's pronouncing it. Really cool and really different. This is a landscape that's shot from above, and it's called Beach Abstract. And you can kind of make out this pattern on the beach of what are basically tables with umbrellas on them, but the umbrellas are all folded down. Works great with that curve going into the water, and I just think this is fabulous. I love geometry when it's presented like that, pattern, symmetry. It really creates a lot of interest, and so very nice work from Josiah on that. Another one I really like, this is from Nadia Rodriguez, and this is really nicely done. These images are not easy, especially when you have what's going on here, which is a backlit subject, where if the tree is the subject, you know, if you're shooting a human or a person, you'd lose all the details of their face. But it works with this tree because the branches and the way that picks up all the detail. But then it works again because the lighter landscape is in the back, so it really makes an emphasis and makes that stand out. So Nadia did a really nice job on this. Another one that I really like, this is Mark Hood Photo, and this one brings, this is kind of a heavy image, but this figure that's been bonded with ropes, and another, you know, large nod to maybe psychology or you know, that dreamlike quality, or in this case maybe a nightmare-like quality, but a very interesting image nonetheless. And I like the way he's done that. I like the way he's toned it too. It's black and white with the toning applied, but Mark Hood did a great job on this, so nicely done. Another one, this was another tough one because I love it so much, but this is Jorgen Klovstad, and this is amazing. I love this. This is a beautiful landscape. I love the way that you have this island in the middle of this water that you can tell by the symmetry, the up and down, the reflection, but it's isolated with just this little clump of trees on it, and the way the rest of the image just kind of very, in this buttery-like way, just blurs together. And this is just really nice, very pleasing to look at, and great use of black and white tones. And then finally, we have our book winner. This is the individual who is winning the John Blakemore book. I love this image. There's no title attached to it, but Pontus Fire, I think is how you pronounce his name. And there's no title given to this, but it obviously is a huge architectural metaphor for an eye, and really nicely done. I like the fact that the golden mean and the spiral are kind of represented and suggested here. I like the way that this is so cool. There's a lot to look at here, but this line with this banister works so well. I love the texture on the stone, and this is just absolutely gorgeous, and great vantage point, great shot. And anyway, Pontus Fire is going to win the John Blakemore book, so I will get in touch with him via Twitter, and hopefully we can get in touch with him and get him his book, figure out how to get it to him. So guys, stay tuned. You know, one of the things that I really don't like about competitions is that, well, there's several things, but I think when you do get featured in a competition, you got to be careful because it gives you a false sense of, you know, worth of your work. You know, you got to keep going. And then I think when you don't get a competition, or if you don't get featured in a competition, you know, it's unfortunate because I think it's easy to get down on yourself and think you're not good enough. And I want to assure you that in just going through these images and making these selections, this was hard, and I can only feature a handful of you on the show because there were almost 200 entries, and they were all really good. I would suggest that do not get discouraged. If you would like your work featured here, we're going to do more of these competitions. I'm going to announce the next one in the next couple days, and just keep going. The point of this was to get you guys to learn how to self-promote your work on Twitter, and I'm going to put some more parameters in place next time on that. And I think what I ended up seeing was a lot of images that were retweeted, that were favorited, and this is how it works, guys. You got to get your work out there, and you got to start promoting it, and I hope some of you got that out of this. It's almost neither here nor there if you win the book or not, or if you're featured on the show for that matter, but don't give up. Keep going, and keep striving to do better and keep submitting images. And like I said, there were a lot of things that I left out of here that were hard to leave out. But anyway, I want to thank you guys. This has been great. We're going to do more of these contests in the future. And so, you know, I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.